All right, so we're diving deep today into, this whole push-push thing in the NFL.
Yeah.
Everyone's been, talking about it, especially with this Green Bay proposal to ban it.
Right.
So we got a bunch of articles here to kind of break it down.
Yeah, definitely a lot of interesting perspectives on this.
It's getting pretty heated.
It is. It's one of those things that it's not just about the play itself. It brings up all these questions about, like what's fair, what's strategy,
Right.
how the game should evolve.
Exactly. So before we even get into like the arguments and all that,
Sure.
can we just like back up for a second?
Yeah.
For everyone who hasn't seen it, explain what this push-push actually is.
Okay, so imagine you're in like a crucial short yardage situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback hands the ball off, but instead of, your typical run,
Right.
you've got like multiple offensive players lined up right behind the ball carrier.
Okay.
And they just push him forward like it's like a rugby scrum or something.
Yeah.
But with even more force.
Yeah, and we saw this in action with the Eagles.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, their Super Bowl win.
Super Bowl LIX.
Yeah, it was like a masterclass in touch pushing.
Right, they've really like perfected it.
Yeah.
It's so well coordinated, it's powerful, and it's really tough to stop.
And it was effective.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about Jalen Hurts' first touchdown, that Super Bowl
Yeah.
classic push, and it just set the tone for the whole game.
Yeah, demoralize the defense.
Exactly.
Now I was reading that pushing the ball carrier wasn't always legal.
You're right on that. It was actually banned for a while.
Really?
Yeah, they thought it was too dangerous.
Huh.
But the problem was, how do you enforce that?
Yeah.
In real time, it's so hard for the refs to tell,
Right.
is this a legal block or is this an illegal push?
Yeah.
So because of all that ambiguity, they ended up making it legal again.
And that kind of brings us to today.
It does.
With the Green Bay Packers and, their president, Mark Murphy.
Right.
They want it gone.
They do.
What are they saying? What's the main argument here?
Well, Murphy's saying a few things. One, it gives the offense an unfair advantage.
Okay.
Two, it's basically impossible to defend against.
Uh-huh.
And three, he says it just lacks skill.
But doesn't Green Bay do this too?
That's the interesting part.
With their QB sneak.
Exactly. They use a version of it. Their
Yeah.
quarterback sneaks, they definitely get that push from behind.
Right.
But it's usually not as like aggressive or coordinated
Yeah.
as what the Eagles are doing with the tush push. So it makes you wonder,
It does.
is this really just about fairness, or
Right.
is there a little bit of competitive strategy going on here too?
That's a good point. Because nobody's doing it quite like the Eagles.
Nobody.
So I guess the question is,
Yeah.
are the Packers,
Right.
maybe a little jealous?
It's possible.
Because we were talking about this last year,
Uh-huh.
trying to ban the play, and it didn't even go to a vote.
Yeah, it didn't get that far.
But now it's back on the table for the NFL owners to decide in March.
It is.
So what happens? What are the consequences here if they actually ban it?
Well, that's where things get really interesting, because you have to think,
Mhm.
could this stifle innovation?
Uh-huh.
You take away one play, will teams just find even more creative,
Right.
maybe even more controversial ways to get that edge?
Right.
And then it becomes this whole philosophical debate about
Yeah.
where's the line between strategy and fairness?
So let's bring it back to the listener here.
Okay.
Imagine you're an NFL owner.
All right.
How are you voting on this?
Tough decision, right?
Yeah.
Do you ban the tush push for the sake of fairness?
Mhm.
Or do you say, hey, it's part of the game's emulation, let it be?
I think your stance on this really tells you a lot about
It does.
how you see the game.
Yeah.
Do you prioritize, having all these different strategies?
Mm.
Or is it just about, a level playing field no matter what?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's one that every NFL owner is going to have to answer for themselves.
All right, well, that's our deep dive into the Tush Push controversy.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've got some food for thought now.
Definitely something to think about.
Let us know what you think.